We are doing something new today. Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode to Control Plus Drama with your hosts, Ani Bay and me, the Luna.
Hello.
So, today we're going to be reading some Reddit stories for Am I the Asshole? Let's Not Meet, and general spooky stuff, you know?
Yeah, so two mine are from Am I the Asshole? And then I have one from Creepy Encounters. And I chose the one from Creepy Encounters because I've actually experienced something very similar and never again working in the hospitality industry. So,
Do you want to read first or do you want me to?
you go first. I love being read to. Read to me all day, baby.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so my first one is from Am I the Asshole? And it has an update. This one is Am I the Asshole for telling my aunt to manage her own kid at a family event? So I'm kind of curious and excited because tomorrow is American Thanksgiving, which is a family event that most people let their children run amok, in my experience anyway. And personally, I'm the babysitter of the group, of the family, so, like, I have to, like, make sure nobody's children are getting into anything. So this one kind of talks to me. So I'm curious as to what all's gonna happen here. I want to start by saying that I absolutely love my baby cousin Lily. She's one of my favorite people in the world, and I see her as more of a little sister than a cousin. But during a recent family gathering, things got a little tense, and I'm left wondering if I handled the situation poorly. I am 24 female and part of a large joint family with grandparents, aunts, uncles, and plenty of cousins. Since I work in another state, I only see everyone during holidays or special events. Being the oldest of my generation, I've always been close to my younger cousins, especially Lily, who's just 4 years old. We have a 2-decade age gap, but I adore her and babysit her whenever I can. She's very attached to me and even sees me as a mom or second mother. Or she sees my mom as a second mother. Recently, I attended my younger brother's birthday party, a rare chance to relax and catch up with family after a stressful year. Lilia was there, of course, and as the youngest cousin, she didn't have any playmates her age. Naturally, she gravitated towards me, so she kept pulling me away from the table to join her in games, and I happily played with her for a while. When it was time for dinner, I even fed her because she refused to eat unless it was from her mom, my mom, or me. After making sure she was settled, I handed her off to my grandma so I could grab a plate of food to enjoy the meal. I honestly thought she'd nap or play outside in the garden, but when I came back, I found absolute chaos. Lily had pulled at the tablecloth, spilling several dishes and creating a huge mess. She was crying because my aunt, her mother, had started scolding her, and the whole scene had become a disaster. Later, my aunt came up to me and in a very pointed tone said I should have kept an eye on Lily. She implied that the mess was my fault, essentially blaming me for not watching her. I was so shocked that I didn't know how to respond at first. Then I told her as calmly as I could that Lily is not my responsibility. She is the mother, and it's ultimately her job to look after her. My aunt stormed off after that, and now my family group chats and calls are blowing up. My mom and grandparents are getting complaints about how disrespectful I was for speaking to my aunt that way. I didn't mean to cause any drama, but genuinely, I feel like I did nothing wrong. I love Lily, and I try to help her out when I can, but I was hoping to enjoy this one event without being on babysitting duty the entire time. So I'm wondering, am I the asshole for standing up for myself, or should I have handled things differently?
Definitely not the asshole, because what the fuck?
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I've been in that position. Like, my family, when my aunt's kids were growing up, I was always the one to take care of them. And I was that person. Like, I would get in trouble if they made a mess. And I would be forced to go clean it up. And I'm like, dude, I'm not their mother. Like, it sucks. I've been there.
Yeah, no, same. I'm the oldest in my generation. I'm the oldest granddaughter, oldest niece, oldest everything. So, like, I definitely feel it. And good for whoever OP is, because OP stood her ground. And that's your kid, bro. you should teach your kids better. Sorry, I know kids are going to do things that kids are going to do, but if you taught them correctly, they wouldn't be doing that.
One of the comments said, "You missed out on the word ungrateful. The aunt was and still is an ungrateful bitch. Judgment, not the asshole. The woman talks about disrespect OP displayed towards her, but OP just matched her energy. Nothing wrong with that. And OP moving forward, if you can, don't look after Lily much. Your so-called aunt clearly never appreciated the help you gave her on that day at the party and any time before that. Hope she learns her lesson. Do not cave in to an apology. You might be told, keep the peace for family's sake, but let me reiterate, that aunt blamed you for what her child did."
Yeah, I definitely don't think she was the asshole. Good for OP for standing the ground. Okay,
yeah.
Time for the update.
All right, so the update is titled slightly different, but it's the same OP. Update, am I the asshole for telling my aunt that watching her daughter isn't my responsibility? Hi everyone, thanks for the advice and the support. I'm back in my city now and things have finally calmed down after what felt like endless family drama. I'll start work tomorrow, so I thought I'd share an update on how everything unfolded. As I mentioned, my aunt had been calling and leaving messages nonstop after the incident. My mom, who absolutely is my superhero, told me to stand my ground and not give in to the pressure. She even stepped in to handle things herself. On Sunday, she went to my aunt's house and, according to my cousin Carl, quote-unquote fake name, pour her a new one. Apparently, my mom didn't hold back. She called out my aunt's behavior, her deadbeat husband, and her overly controlling parenting style. It turns out my aunt has been clashing with pretty much everyone in the family, collecting grudges like Pokemon cards. I hadn't realized how bad things have gotten since I've been away for work. Just like Pokemon cards.
Yeah. I was like, not the grudges, like Pokemon cards, bro.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Whatever the aunt is going through, she's definitely projecting on everyone else. And I don't think it's fair, but damn.
Yeah.
Good for mama. Thank God for
Honestly,
moms.
W parenting. W. All right, so it goes on to say, here's some context I learned later. Lily had a few health scares as a baby, which led to my aunt becoming a full-blown helicopter mom. Ew. I hate helicopter moms. She barely lets Lily out of the house unless it's to visit our family. Even her preschool's run by my uncle, my aunt's brother. And my aunt pulls her out of school whenever she feels like it. According to Carl, Lily is lucky to have some freedom when she stays at our house, which explains why she's so attached to me and my mom. While my mom was handling my aunt, I had a beach day with my brother. It was just the two of us, and we had the best time eating ice cream and building sandcastles. It felt so nostalgic, like revisiting our childhood memories of living on the coast. I also made up for not celebrating his birthday properly due to the chaos. Monday was a relaxed day at home and with my cousins, and my grandma even brought Lily over so I could say goodbye before heading back. Getting her out of my aunt's house was apparently a battle in itself, but I'm so grateful to spend a few hours with her. She's such a joy, and I'll miss her terribly. Now, for the funny bit. Carl told me shortly after I posted my original story, his exact words, "Breaking out of the prison, are we? Right behind you, sis." He's been cracking jokes about the whole situation ever since, which is definitely lightened the mood. As for my aunt, she's still trying to stir up drama, but most of the family is on my side. Once the truth came out, it became clear that her accusations about me neglecting Lily. Everyone knows how much I adore Lily, and I've been there for her when I could. After reading all the comments and advice, I decided not to apologize. We would have considered it just to keep the peace, but she's blown it so out of proportion that it's not even worth it. My mom has told her to stop acting like a child and quit spamming the family group chats. Her words, not mine. At this point, I'm putting the drama behind me. Almost everyone in the family reassures me that I did nothing wrong, so I'm moving forward with a clear conscience. Thank you again to everyone who helped me see this clearly. Good for her.
Right?
Good for her. She didn't apologize, which is like a big thing when people act the way that they do, you know?
Yeah.
Proud of her.
Me too. I'm very proud of her. I'm fully on OP's side because dude, that's not your responsibility. You were helping out. Why are you putting all the blame on the OP?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cause like, I think that if you are helping out of the goodness of your heart, or if somebody asks you, hey, can you watch this kid? You know, that is different than if somebody just walks in, expects you to watch their kid, and then yells at you if the kid does something messed up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of crazy.
It's not like the kid is getting hurt. I feel like it's a different story if the kid got hurt, but like kids are going to be kids. They're curious. She's little. And OP deserves to actually be able to spend that time and relax a little bit.
I agree.
So I thought this one was funny. Okay. So the title is, Am I the Asshole for Not Inviting My Brother's Girlfriend to Thanksgiving Dinner After She Ruined Last Year's Dinner? Spicy. I, 32, host Thanksgiving every year for my family. Last year, my brother, 29 male, brought his new girlfriend, Emily, 28 female, to dinner. I had never met her before, but I wanted to make her feel welcome. Everything was fine until we sat down to eat. Emily announced she couldn't eat most of the food because it wasn't organic or clean. She loudly criticized the dishes I spent hours making, saying things like, I can't believe people still cook with butter. It's so unhealthy. She even went as far as lecturing my dad about how his wine wasn't natural. The worst part, she brought her own organic food and proceeded to heat it up in my kitchen without asking. When I gently suggested she could have mentioned her preferences beforehand, she rolled her eyes and said, I didn't think I needed to, considering how aware people are of health these days. Ugh. Sorry, I can't with this. I know. Oh my gosh. This year, I decided not to invite her. When my brother asked why, I told him the truth. Her behavior last year was disrespectful, and I didn't want to repeat. He called me petty and said I was punishing her for being health conscious. My mom agrees with me, but a few other family members think I'm overreacting and should have given her another chance.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I don't think.
Well, no.
Yes.
Nah. If somebody has that much to say about your cooking, you know, bring your own dish. Sheesh. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah. So I don't think OP is the asshole, okay? I think he's totally in the right. I think she was really rude. I think that is so fucking rude to do. Like, and then the brother could have warned him ahead of time. Like, not everyone eats organic or clean. Remember, eating organic and clean is a lot more expensive than just buying regular groceries. Honestly, I don't see the difference, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this because I'm not educated in it. But hey, you know, to each their own. I just think she went about it in a really rude way. I was like...
Yeah, like, it's so rude. First off, if somebody is going through the trouble of cooking for you, if you're not allergic to it, then what's the problem, you know? If you don't like it, just take a couple bites and be like, I was feeling nauseous earlier today and it's starting to come back on me. I'm sorry. I it's really good, but I can't eat anymore. You know, like, nicely, like, back out of it. Give an excuse as to why you can't eat it, you know?
And the fact that she's 28 makes it even worse because it's like, girl, you have friends. You should know not everyone is like you. Everyone has different lifestyles, and OP spent hours making food.
Ungrateful and rude.
Yeah, exactly.
OP is not the asshole. What does chat have to say?
Panda says she could have kept it to herself. As an almost there dietitian, there really isn't any point to lash out on the family. Don't go around bashing what my friends or family eats. LOL. Like, bro, just don't eat a lot or bring your own little food. Exactly. I mean, she did, but she didn't ask to warm it up. She just went and did it. And I think that's the rudest part. Is like, hey, I'm not feeling the dishes that, you know, I have a different kind of diet, kind of go around that way, and then be like, but I brought my own and would love to enjoy this dinner with you. I don't know.
There's so many different ways. Even if you didn't want to eat the food, there's so many different ways to handle that politely, or at least, like, not disrespectfully.
Yeah. Panda said, but I would still invite her, sadly, just silently judging her. You are really nice. I would not invite her back to my house. I'm going to be like, bitch, I don't even want you in my house after that fiasco last year. Excuse you. No.
Cal says there's a tactful way to go about food because there's always going to be something you won't like. She needs to learn some serious tact. Exactly.
There's a certain way to talk to people and a certain way not to, okay? It's the concept that she was rude to begin with. At least that's what I'm getting from the story, right? I wasn't there. I don't know. This is all speculation. But from what I got from the story was that she was just rude from the start. And who doesn't love butter? Butter makes everything better. Even bread.
Especially
butter makes
salted
plain
butter.
bread. Oh, so
Dude,
good.
So good.
Oh, that's why Panda's nice about it. He says, sadly, I have someone IRL that does that. Or that's like that.
Oof.
That's why he's nice.
Fair enough.
I still wouldn't.
Coming from somebody who comes from a poor background who had food shortages in her childhood, food is food. If somebody's kind enough and genuine enough to cook for you, why be disrespectful or ungrateful for it? You know? Like, if somebody that I don't like made me food, I would still eat it and I would still be very polite about it and say thank you. Because they didn't have to feed me, but they did. All right, so this one is from the Let's Not Meet podcast. He is following me is the title, which already off to a good start. All right, because like that's a good title. For you to know, I'm a woman, 23 years old, when this happened with paranoid schizophrenia, and the boy was 20 years old at the time. It all started when I was hospitalized in a mental hospital that was divided in two, men and women, and in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we could go to an area in the hospital that had a small garden with grass. It was in the middle of winter, so us girls used to lay down in the grass together, close to each other, so we could stay warm and catch a little bit of sun. Weird, but okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds nice. Like, they need sunlight. Vitamin D.
Fair enough. And all the times that we were there, they let us be with the boys, and me and my ex-cocaine addicts started to talk and know each other. We fell in love. We kissed when the nurses weren't looking. The cleaning lady cleaned the men's space in the morning and the women's space in the afternoon. We traded love letters via the cleaning lady. He said that he was in love with me and I had feelings for him. They were very strong feelings. He stayed 15 days in the hospital and I 45. I swear that when we would meet outside the hospiil and we would start dating for real.
Wait, they only knew each other for 15 days? Hold on. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt. 15 days? And she was in love?
That's crazy.
That's wild. It's okay, sorry, go on.
That's some Disney Channel, I just want to marry the man I just met, you know? Like...
Okay, Anna of Arendelle.
Jesus.
Oh, Lord.
Right, so I got out of the hospital and we started dating, and it was everything flowers until he got back onto drugs, and it started to scare me. He lost weight, and his eyes started getting sunk in. His eyes were like he wasn't even there when we met. Police caught him with crack, and I thought this was it. I didn't want anything to do with this boy anymore. He stayed in jail for 3.5 months, and no one told me when he got out. I was coming back home from a friend's house about 7 p.m., and it was already dark, and that's when I saw him. He was standing on the other side of the street next to a car, and he yelled at me, and I pretended not to know him. That was the first time I saw him. The second time was going to a bar with a girlfriend, and I saw him walking behind us with 2 hands in his pockets and a big hoodie. We called male friends to walk with us, but I was already scared. He knows the bar I go to, the path I take, he knows where I live, and which school my little sister studies in. He knows the path I take to my psychiatry and psychologist and to therapy groups. I just got home. I'm scared. He followed me the entire time. I can see him from my window right now. He's not the sweet boy that I fell in love with. He's just the junkie that followed me home. And now he scares me. I still have all his letters. This seems very... There's 2 comments on it. One says, call the police, he's a psycho. And the other one says, are you okay? There's no updates and there's no edits.
I really hope OP is okay.
Me too.
Yeah, I really hope OP is okay. That's wild to me that they fell in love for 15 days after 15 days, because I still can't get over that.
Yeah.
But like the fact that he's like a legit stalker. She should get a restraining order because he knows the path she takes. He knows the school her little sister goes to. Like, huh?
Yeah, that's so creepy. Like, that's so scary, though. What the heck?
I am terrified for OP, and I really hope OP is okay. That's creepy as hell.
That's so creepy. I would definitely get a restraining order, or at least call somebody. But it also sounds like she's paranoid schizophrenic, so they might just write her off.
I forgot about that too. But I forgot about that. They're definitely gonna write her off. Like, oh, it's one of her medical conditions. Panda says, so this is literally Twitch chat where chatters fall in love with the streamer and stalks them. The parasocial relationships, yeah, basically. Thank God.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to jinx anything. He's like, wait, these stories are real, right? Yes, they should be. At least,
yeah.
I'm hoping they are.
I mean, there are times where people will post on Reddit to get like sympathy points, or they'll post and just be like, hopefully this blows up and people see it and blah blah blah. You know, like trying to get their side of the story out before they get called out. But there's a good chance that everything is true. So
you never know. There's always multiple sides to every story. Honestly, if something like that was to happen to me, I would disappear from the internet forever because that shit is fucking scary. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I'm like, nope, I didn't sign up for this. I just wanted to have fun and play games with friends and share some positive energy.
Games with my friends.
I think that story is going to stick with me for a while because it's like...
I mean, it's not very well written either. So, like, I'm just sitting here looking at all the grammatical errors and I'm like, yeah, it's sticking with me.
Yeah, Mr. Chowhai earlier was saying how, like, good luck on the grammatical errors because people can't spell or... Right?
Bruh, I had to smooth over a lot of this because, like, her periods are in the worst place and then, like, her sentences are atrocious. Okay, so one of the things is she's like, and all the times we were there, they let us be with the boys, and me, a ex-cocaine addict, started to talk and know each other. Period. We fell in love. Period. We kissed when the nurses wasn't looking. And I'm
That's
like,
the worst.
Honey, we kissed when the nurses weren't looking. We fell in love and we kissed when the nurses... Like, I'm looking at... my inner, like, writer...
The inner writer in Luna is going crazy.
I am offended. So that's a pretty crazy romance story. Do you have any that are kind of crazy like that? Or is your romance just normal?
In real life?
Yeah. I can't say I've ever... I can say I've been stalked by an ex. But...
I don't have any. I've only been in, like, 2 actual relationships. And then I had a few situationships and a friend of benefit in the past. But nothing crazy because, I mean, we're in the generation of, like, nobody's looking for anything serious. So... That's
fair.
Yeah.
When I was in high school... I dated a guy, right? And he was weirdly, like, clingy, I'm gonna say. Because, like, in high school, I was very much a don't frickin' touch me unless I come up to you and ask for, like, physical contact.
Yeah.
You know? Because, like, I was trying to get out of my problems with physical touch. I didn't like being touched. And I definitely didn't like being touched without consent. So, like... He would just sit all up on me in the bus and, like, lay his head on my shoulder. And he was, like, really skinny. And so, like, he bent in on himself. And he was, like... I don't know how to describe this. But, like, it was just very... He was skinny and tall. And he just kind of, like, bent in a weird way to lay his head on my shoulder. And I was like, this is freaking weird. Why are you the way that you are?
I love you, bro.
So, I love you, too. So he was like super clingy, and I was very uncomfortable with it because he would do that, and then he would like cling to me in the hallways anytime we were out. I don't know. It's just hard to describe because like he wouldn't
just
let me
sounds
be.
clingy.
He was. He wouldn't even let me be when I was at home. He would like try to call me and be on the phone with me constantly. And I'm like, dude, we've been on the phone for like 2 hours and I have to go do dishes. Like I cannot stay on the phone with you. And I didn't want to be on the phone with friends. I was really bad at being a girlfriend.
That boy was just in love with you.
I know. And I like hung up and all this other stuff. But when I broke up with him, he literally stalked me for like 2 years. Cause like I broke up with him senior year, and I moved away from the house that I lived at while I dated him. And like he would show up at the place where I lived looking for me, which is crazy because it was like in the middle of the woods, and he would just show up.
That's
and
creepy.
Then and like he told my boyfriend at the time, because like I started dating someone else. He's like, yeah, we hooked up in like September, and I'm like, bruh, first off, I'm not a cheater, and second off, if I was gonna cheat on my boyfriend, I would find someone better to cheat on him with. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, man. Like, I don't know.
It's definitely not you, buddy, good old buddy, old pal.
Yeah, and he told my best friend that we hooked up, and I was like, bro, look at me in my eyeballs and tell me how many times you cheated on your boyfriends and how many times I hit you, smacked you, and yelled at you because I don't like cheating. And now tell me that I'm going to cheat on my boyfriend. And she's like, you know what? You're right. And I was like, I know. Like, he was like making up lies about me and stalking me and showing up where I lived.
That's wild. That's fucking crazy.
He sounded like a loony. Yeah, he was. He was crazy. Okay, so while I was at school, my friend Allie and we catfished this man who was like 40 in some foreign country. And he was like flirting with us on, what was it? Internet Explorer something. We were doing something. I can't remember. It was like some chat. And
was it Omegle?
He's like, no. This was before Omegle. He was like talking to us and flirting with us and asking ASL. And I was like, I'm 17. And I told him that I lived somewhere in the middle of the United States. I did not tell him that it was like Ohio. And he's like trying to like get more information out of us. And I was like, this guy's creepy. Let's just catfish the hell out of him.
Girl, you're crazy.
And this went on for like days. Yeah, well, I was stupid.
I think we all were. It's a good thing we're still alive today. We're not on one of those Dateline stories. We probably should be, though, honestly.
This is the time that I could have gotten, like, if I was even dumber and told them actual information, I could have got trafficked, because that's some shit.
That's scary. That's hella scary.
It is. Like, I was so dumb in high school. I think about it now, and I'm like, dude, I could have been trafficked. I could have been something. I don't know. I don't like that idea. But I didn't. I'm here. We thrived.
I'm glad you're alive. So I do want to preface this with a trigger warning. It does contain contents of assault, essay to be exact. So yeah, if you're not comfortable with this, I am so sorry. And that's why I'm giving a trigger warning now. So the title of this is, Am I the Asshole for Not Going to Thanksgiving Because My Cousin Was a Groomsman at My Assaulter's Wedding? Excuse me, what?
Excusez-moi.
Okay, so she starts off as saying, okay, this is a tough one. I was assaulted 8-ish years ago on a family beach trip by my male cousin's friend. The night of the incident, I went to the hospital, got a kit done, spoke to detectives. The guy was arrested in the middle of the night, but then he got a lawyer and bonded out. I was traumatized and scared and decided not to pursue charges. Alcohol was involved, and I was warned that my uncle, who owned the house I was assaulted at, could have faced charges for letting minors drink. We were 19, 20 at the time. Also, since alcohol was involved, I was terrified it wouldn't stand in court. I sometimes regret not doing charges, but I was just too overwhelmed. Anyway, I never really spoke about it again. I did notice that soon after, my cousin who was friends with the assaulter blocked me on social media. I didn't ask him about it, and after a few years, I felt fine seeing him for holidays, events, and had no hard feelings. A large portion of my family was on the beach trip, but no one asked me about it and gave me space. I try to be a private person. I compartmentalize. I can't say that word. Oh my God. The hell of the night and never try to think about it again, unless in therapy. Until about 3 days ago, it came to my attention that he was a groomsman in my assaulter's wedding. It was posted on social media, and a person I'm close to told me about it because they thought it was messed up. I had no clue he and the guy were even still friends, let alone close enough to be in a wedding. My family hosts a huge Thanksgiving every year. My entire family, 40 plus people, attend, including my cousin. I told my parents that I wasn't sure if I felt comfortable with attending if my cousin was there, as I felt betrayed and like he didn't care about my assault. He knows all the details of the assault because he was present when his friend was arrested. My mother told me that it wasn't fair and that I'm triggered by a social media post, and she couldn't control that my cousin is still friends with this guy. Oh, my uncle is still friends on Facebook with the assaulter's parents, and there's no way he didn't know his son was a groomsman at the wedding. Furthermore, my mom says that my uncle and other uncle apparently have different perspectives on what happened that night, and since I didn't press charges and had been drinking, they assumed the assault was a miscommunication. That hurt so bad because part of the reason I didn't press charges was to protect my uncle. My mom and dad say they won't uninvite my cousin/uncle, and I told them that it was fine because I truly didn't want to ruin Thanksgiving, but that I wasn't sure if I was comfortable enough to attend myself. My two younger siblings have no clue about my assault, so if I didn't go, I can't explain to them why. Also, if I didn't go, my toddler wouldn't be able to go and we'd celebrate alone. My mom said I'm overdramatic and going to ruin Thanksgiving. Am I the asshole? I'm on the fence. I don't think she's the asshole.
I don't think she is either. She literally didn't press charges to protect her uncle, and her uncle turns around and like is still friends with the parents of the assaulter and then has the gall to downplay the actual assault. Like, we just assumed that it was a miscommunication. Like, that's what?
That's crazy to me. And assault is still assault. There is no excuse for it. And the fact that her mom is not understanding her point of view, I think that's hella fucked up.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
that's rough, man.
It's a deal breaker. The whole family sucks. Like, I think the whole family sucks because, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, putting myself in that position, like, I would feel betrayed by a lot of people, like anybody who still associates themselves with the assaulter's family. That's a betrayal to the person. That's like looking the girl in the face and being like, hey, I don't believe you, you're a liar, and then walking away. Like, that's the equivalent of it. Because unless the other message that they're sending is, hey, I'm cool with this, which is, you know, one of the least things to be cool with, in my opinion. Like, I hate everything for this poor girl. Like, I think she should not go to the Thanksgiving, and she doesn't have to tell her younger siblings why. Her mom would know, but at the same time, you made your choice by not making a choice.
I feel like if the younger siblings want to ask, their mom should be the one to tell them why.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine how hard it is for her to even bring up the subject and talk about it.
Yeah. And the fact that she had to bring it up to her mom, and her mom pretty much was like, oh yeah, they just thought that it was a miscommunication instead. That means that both the mom thinks that, plus the uncle, plus the cousin.
And then the cousin... Sorry, go on. Sorry.
The cousin, because he blocked OP on social media, makes me think, like, he probably believed the other guy's thoughts on it. He probably was like, yeah, my cousin is lying. She didn't get assaulted. My friend is completely innocent. Actively chose the assaulter over his cousin. Like, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah, because she even went to the hospital and got a kit done.
Yeah, she had proof that it happened. And that's not enough for you? Just your cousin even saying that it happened, that's not enough for you. Like, that's kind of crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah. The audacity of the mom to say that she's going to ruin Thanksgiving, though. The fucking audacity. Right. Bro, what?
That's crazy. Like, I've noticed that that's a lot of older generation's way of...
guilt tripping? Trying
to guilt trip. Yeah, to guilt trip the younger generation and things like, oh, like whenever they're like, oh, this and that, and it's like, okay, and they're trying to guilt trip you into going, girl. Like, don't go. Like, you're not ruining anything.
They're not even gonna. They don't even believe you that you walk out. It's fine to go no contact.
At the end of the day, The question is, do you want to sacrifice your mental well-being and put this very traumatic thing, like push it down and pretend like it doesn't hurt because your family doesn't believe that it happened, your family is not supporting you, and pretend like everything's fine and go to this Thanksgiving? Or do you not self-sacrifice and you do your own little Thanksgiving with your own kid and not sacrifice your mental health that way?
It's time to start new traditions. Yeah, that's it.
That's what I'm saying. Do a Friendsgiving, bro. Do a Friendsgiving, because there ain't nothing wrong with that.
I love Friendsgiving.
I haven't had Friendsgiving. I don't have real life friends.
You have Jenna and I. What do you mean?
Oh,
bitch.
You're long distance friends. Yeah, let me just hop on a plane and head over Friendsgiving right now.
Yeah, it's great. So Mike says, I wouldn't go either. Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, I definitely don't think she's in the wrong. At least you can choose that family, the friends, right? I think you should be able to choose family regardless. Like, just because it's blood doesn't mean anything. If they're gonna fuck you over time and time again, that's not family. That's not how family should be, and that's not how family should treat each other. Panda says, what the fuck is wrong with people? I got a brick for everyone who supports the assaulter, not gonna lie. Time to find a new family. Me too. Let's go throw bricks at them. Just kidding. I don't want to get locked up. I'm an angel who frolics in fields of flowers, who sometimes throws rocks at people if they deserve it.
If anybody asks, I didn't see nothing. Like, I got an alibi for you and him. Like, y'all were at my house. You weren't out throwing rocks at people.
I mean, we're not. We just want to throw rocks at them, and I'll make sure it's not fatal. I just make sure it hurts a little bit.
Get him in the thigh, right on the kneecap. Hey, you want to get your bitch?
Steve says, damn, and don't even invite me? Wait, invite you to what?
To the
Friendsgiving? I don't have Friendsgiving. I don't plan things, and I don't plan things on purpose because I suck at planning. And I hate the stress of putting things together. So I will attend Friendsgiving. I won't.
It's going to be one of those things where if you want to have Friendsgiving at Ani's house, it's going to be where I show up with a bunch of bags in my hands and I cook stuff in her oven and I'm like, oh, it's ready. And she's coming downstairs all sleepy and like, oh, hey guys, what's up?
No, for real. Like, in the past, when we were still in California, they would use my place as the get-together place. And anytime anyone did anything at my place, I'm just like, y'all come on over, but I'm not doing nothing. Do your thing.
Vaughn says, the full quote is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the, which is not the ideal source, but basically means form bonds are better than bonds of obligation. And that's true. Because, like, a lot of my friendship they mean more to me than my blood ties. Like, my biological father, heck that guy. I don't want anything to do with them. But, like, I'd give the shirt off my back to, like, one of my friends. And I would, like, go above and beyond to try to do stuff for them. You know what I mean?
Yes. Panda says, let's go throw bricks, Ani. I'm down. Nah, Friendsgiving be sad. No one brings good food. Wait, what kind of Friendsgiving are you having? What? I have friends who cook bomb food.
Okay, so one of my friends has a professional chef as a boyfriend, so I literally just, if I want good food, I go to their house. But they live 8 hours away, so I have to drive 8 hours of fantastic food. So
damn. Have you guys seen that video on TikTok where they had a Friendsgiving and everyone just brought plates? Hold on, I have to find it and send it to you soon, because like everyone brought plates, so they didn't have food. They only had plates and cutlery.
That's so crazy. Jesus. Oh no, imagine. It's like, bring your own plate of food, and it's like the of food got cut out in the text, and so everybody's like, why do they want us to bring our own plate? That's freaking weird.
Oh. One of my best friends in California, Tammy, she makes some bomb food. She's the one who usually cooks for us. And then I'm the type who's just gonna pick up food. I ain't cooking. I cook now, okay? To be fair, I cook now. But if I'm cooking for a whole village, I ain't doing it. I'm just gonna go pick up some food.
I think you're a good cook. All right, so this one is from the No Sleep subreddit. It's titled, I thought my boyfriend was the love of my life until I discovered he was drugging me at night.
Hold on. What?
Uh-huh. Imagine the absolute horror of finding that out.
Just the title alone. ¿Qué? Say that again?
I thought my boyfriend was the love of my life until I discovered he was drugging me at night.
Actually, before we go into this, I was listening to a podcast by Stephanie Sue to where she was talking about this man who was drugging his wife for I think like 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or some shit like that. And then like he was having other men come over and do things to her and recording it. It's a true...
I think I've heard that.
Yeah,
No,
it's a true crime podcast. That's what this title reminds me of. Okay, sorry.
Oh my God, that's...
you can go back. That's just what automatically clicked in my head.
Imagine finding that out, though. Imagine, like, finding out that your husband was drugging you and having his friends come over and do stuff to you for 40 years. That's actually insane. What?
He did it to his daughter, too. And I believe his daughter-in-law.
No, that's so crazy.
People be wilding out here.
Oh, my God. Please tell me they at least gave that man the injection. You know?
It wasn't here. I think it was, I know it was in another country. I think it was somewhere in Europe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I'll find the podcast and send it to you because if you listen to the whole thing, it's so insane. I'm like, that's wild.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. So lately I've been waking up still exhausted. Even if I went to bed early, I'd wake up feeling like I haven't slept in days. Trying to get out of bed for work was almost impossible, which was strange for me because I was always high energy sort of person. A few hours of sleep and I was always good to go. I was at a loss as to what was happening. Or after a barrage of tests, even my doctor couldn't find anything wrong with me. The only recent change in my life was my boyfriend who had moved in and I was sharing a bed for my life. Steven was the first and this was the first serious relationship I've been in. I didn't want to spoil things by making him sleep I like having Steve around. He made a real fuss over me, and he would bring me chamomile tea every night before bed. The pain in my hip was sharp and pulsated on the right side of my body. I jumped from bed and nearly collapsed on the floor as I struck. Steven, can you get in here? I yelled for him. There was a big dark bruise that covered my hip, as if I was assaulted in my sleep with a metal bar. Steven came rushing into the bathroom asking what's wrong, and I asked him if I fell out of bed. Steven had a weird expression on his face. I could swear he looked guilty about something, but he didn't know. His response was dismissive and sent my brain spiraling with all sorts of thoughts. I told him it wasn't normal and I thought me, and he told me to go see a doctor. My doctor was still suggested I should see someone who rule anything out nefarious. Steven was still dismissive of me when we drove home from the hospital, and he told me it was nothing and probably just stress from working. No way stress from working gives her a big old bruise on her hip that looks like she got beat.
That's not crazy. Normal. That is not normal. How can it be caused by stress?
That's what I'm saying. And literally, that's her next word. She's like, people don't wake up with bruises over stress.
Yeah, I mean, my mom used to stress out a lot and she would bruise easily, but that's after hitting something.
Yeah, like if you were like stressing out and like pacing or something and kept bumping into things, like that would make sense, but you don't just develop bruises because you're stressed out.
That's wild. This doctor needs a new profession.
Yeah. If the doctor, like, if they're doing tests, then they should have been able to, like, test her blood or something for drugs. You know?
Yeah.
The doctor at the hospital took my blood and did all sorts of tests, including a stress test. I should have been happy when the test came back clear, but it only made me feel like I was losing my mind. Something was definitely wrong with me. The doctor said that he could prescribe me sedatives, but the blood work shows you're already on nitrazepam, the doctor said. I was dumbstruck. I wasn't sure what the doctor was talking about. I told him that I never take so much as a painkiller in my life. The doctor looked very confused, and so was I. He took out his charts and looked over them again. No, you're definitely test positive for nitrazepam, which is a powerful sedative. Ain't no way. Wait a minute. If this is her regular doctor and he's doing tests on her, wouldn't he know that she was not prescribed this sedative?
Unless if she's going to somewhere else to get a second opinion. But
That's
that is
true.
a good question.
Maybe if she went to like urgent care or something, that could be it. When you go to urgent care, you don't see your regular professional.
Yeah, they don't know your medical history.
Mm-hmm. Well, they ask you though. They ask you like, are you on any like new prescriptions? Anything you're not prescribed? At least they do me. And I'm in small town Ohio, so I assume they do in other places.
They do, but you know how many people can lie?
That's fair. That's fair. Later that evening, as I sat in bed, a million different thoughts ran through my head. How is that even possible? As I sat there, Stephen walked in with my chamomile tea, and just as I was about to put it to my lips, I was struck by the most unnerving thought. The realization that my boyfriend could be drugged. He hit me like and filled me with dread I had never felt before. I emptied the contents of the cups in the sink of the bathroom before jumping back into bed. Was it hot enough for you? Stephen asked as he jumped into bed beside me. I told him the drink was perfect. I felt as if I was laying beside a complete stranger. Had I ever really known him? I thought as I lay there terrified he was going to do unimaginable things to me while I slept. I must have drifted off at some stage because when I woke up, the room was a mess and Stephen was nowhere to be seen. My body ached all over and it felt like I was in a fight. What the hell is he doing to me in my sleep? I thought. I had made the decision to go to the police, but I needed evidence. Or it was just my word against his. I had purchased a hidden camera and set it up in the bedroom pointing towards the bed. I woke up exhausted as usual, which unfortunately meant that he had done something to me while I slept, but I had it on camera. I opened the laptop to check the footage. For the first couple hours of sleep, nothing happened. For a moment, I was imagining everything until I watched myself jolt from the bed. At first, I couldn't believe what I was doing. It felt like I was watching a horror movie as I watched myself crawl up the bedroom wall like some possessed demon. What?
I thought it was her. I'm so confused right now. Where is this going?
I'm so confused.
Is that the end of it?
No.
Okay.
I was like, okay, so I feel like this is not an actual thing then, because like it literally says that she crawled up the wall to the ceiling to hang over him, or like maybe she was just hanging over him. I don't know. Stephen woke up and it was strange watching him because it was like he was prepared for what was happening and didn't seem fazed by it. He took a stick out from under the bed and as I pounced from above him, he spent the next hour fighting me off. I watched as he subdued me on the bed before pulling out handcuffs and cuffing me to the bed. I looked at the marks on my wrist, which made sense now. As soon as Stephen came home from work, I ran and threw my arms around him. Why didn't you tell me what you were going through every night? Stephen shrugged and said, I thought you already knew, and usually the drugs I was giving you made things a little easier. And she asked, why are you still with me? And he's like, the last girlfriend was a jealous psychopath. You're a walk in the park compared to her. I'm like, what?
Is that the end of it?
Yeah, the first comment said, I was so convinced that Stephen was a bad guy, you really need to get help with a sleep study therapist. I'm like, what? So apparently she was attacking him and he was beating her off with a stick. Okay. Interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Okay.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, so I think that maybe this is like a fake story, and also all of the comments think that it's real. They're like, he's a very accepting person. You threw yourself into his arms and basically accepted that you're a demon. I think I would have asked my boyfriend if he did some weird voodoo shit on me before I just accepted my fate. And I'm like, what?
People are wild.
I don't really be wild.
The fact that they think that's a real story, I highly doubt that that's a real story.
Yeah, I highly doubt it as well. But they had me going, bro. Like I was like, what? Oh my god.
Okay. Love Stephanie Sue, Rotten Mango. Yeah, you know what? Fuck this story. Go check out the one that Stephanie Sue was talking about. Rotten Mango is one of my favorite podcasts. Her BAMs are so good that like I listen to her BAMs and then I go watch what she's talking about, and then sometimes I'm disappointed because she tells the story better than the actual movie. It's disappointing because I'm like, wow, it sounded so good when she was talking about it. The one you were talking about is 72 Men in 10 Years, and it was in France. Yes! That's the one! I was so shocked. That's the direction I was thinking the story was going in, right? So I was thinking that he was like drugging her and doing weird things to her, or like have people come over and do things to her. And then the fact that she's like a demon at the end is like, okay.
Yeah. I was like, what? I should have read these before to like make sure that they made sense, but also I didn't because I wanted to go in them blind, you know?
I read mine ahead of time to make sure that, you know, it was smooth and easy to read, because a lot of the grammatical errors I can't just smooth over. I don't have that talent.
I do. I'm cool or whatever. I have lots of talent.
That is a talent I do not have. Oh, man. I feel like I got rickrolled.
Me too, man. I feel like, dude, it was winding me up. I was so ready, and now I feel disappointed. I'm like, damn. All right. Rip, I guess.
Crazy. So, working in the nightlife, not easy. Getting weird people coming through, yes. Getting weirder people who wait for you to get off of work, even worse. I found this story on Creepy Encounters, and I feel like it really resonated with me because I have gone through this a few times. And it is the worst thing ever. Like, you feel unsafe. You don't know what to do. Luckily, I've worked in places that cared for my safety, and I always walked out with security or someone who looked like they can fuck someone up, who would ensure my safety when I was working at one of those jobs. But yeah, that's the whole reason why I chose this next story. It's called, I'm Scared a Customer at My Job is Going to Hurt Me. So I work in a restaurant, and a regular who comes in often, sometimes alone and sometimes with his daughter, who's around my age, came in to pick up an order a few nights ago. He's always nice and friendly and makes jokes when he's here, so I've never felt uncomfortable around him. He commented that I looked different because I dyed my hair and had jewelry on. I was like, yeah, it was actually not supposed to be this color, but it is what it is. I went on about my day. Hours later, when we were cleaning up to close the restaurant, I see him sitting on the bench on the porch of the building alone at 9:30 p.m. And since he's a regular, someone who I didn't consider creepy or a danger, I asked him if he was okay. He said, yeah. And I said, are you sure? Because I was confused as to why he was sitting there after he had already been here hours prior to pick up food. He said, yep, just waiting so we can talk for a few minutes. I laughed because I thought surely he was joking, and then I went back inside. My coworker walked me out that night, and I walked fast-paced and said, have a good night. And he paused as if he was confused and said, okay, good night. I thought maybe I was overthinking it, but my coworker told me that he left right after I did. He came in the following day and was super oddly quiet and down while eating his food, according to my coworkers. I avoided eye contact and conversation the entire time he was there after saying the words unavoidable, how are you? My coworker took the table, and I tried my best to stay out of the dining room while he was there. But I'm concerned he's going to be waiting outside one day when we're not expecting it, and he's going to try something. Yeah.
That's so creepy.
Yep. The amount of times that this has happened is crazy because, like I said, I work in bars. I worked in nightclubs, and people are inebriated, not in their best judgment, and just sometimes they'll wait for you to get out. And who knows what their purpose is? I don't even want to think about it. Just stuff like this terrifies me, which is why if I'm ever in an environment that I don't feel safe walking myself or leaving work, I don't stay at that job. I mean, it could happen anywhere, right? Because she was at a restaurant. Like, it's not even the same environment I was in. And, like, it's happening to her.
So that's creepy. Like, I've heard stories of people having... It goes back to, like, parasocial relationships. These people think that, like, one conversation means this person wants me. And we're going to go have this big conversation. We're going to go through all this stuff. And we're going to live happily ever after. And it's like, what? I just asked you how you are. I'm friendly to you. That doesn't mean I want you. Like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear stories of like cashiers going through the same things, like at grocery stores. People be weird, man. People be real weird.
Now, one of the comments says, there's been studies done that men often misread and misinterpret women's general friendliness, kindness, good nature, good sense of humor as signs that the woman is interested in the man in a romantic way when the women are not at all interested in them like that. This happens especially to servers and other professions of the service industry. I waitress for years and so many guys took my friendly nature the wrong way. I used to wear fake wedding rings. Fake wedding rings don't work. I've tried it. It doesn't work. Mike says scary. Yeah, it is scary. Like, just because I'm nice to you because I have to be, okay? It's my job to literally be nice to you, but never past a certain, point. Oh my God, what if like all of my old regulars watch this and they're like, what? You weren't nice to me because we are friends? I'm just kidding. No, bro, I'm nice to you so you can tip me. Sorry,
Joe
your bartenders don't like you.
Joe says that's true. Men misinterpret often because a lot of men aren't used to enjoying nice. So when they experience that combined with those with less social experiences, they'll assume you're interested in them. That's fair.
Yeah.
Like it gives the energy. I know some people, they raise their dogs with like, they tell everyone around the dog to like just tolerate it and be mean to it so that they're the only one nice. The dog bonds with them. And then once the dog is like irrevocably like attached to them, that's when they start letting people be nice to the dog. And I'm like, that's toxic as fuck. Like,
that's
you should
crazy.
Right? Okay, so I know people who are like backyard breeders, and I don't associate with them anymore. I just know of them. But like, that's how they raise their animals. They would like, I specifically was told to be mean to their animals. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. What? And then they got mad because their animals like me better than them. Like, probably because they could tell that you're genuine. I mean, like, if your animals don't like you, maybe that's something about you that makes them not like you. I don't know. But
it's a you thing.
Yeah. Yeah. At one aspect, it makes me feel like if that's the problem with men lately, like, I feel for them, but also that does not mean that I want you in any capacity at all. Like, my job forces me to be nice to people because in a nursing home, if you're not nice to the families and the residents, they could literally get you fired and you lose your license.
That's the worst.
Yeah, and some of these people are like so entitled or like they'll be so gross and stuff and you can't even tell that it's inappropriate and walk away. Because if you walk away, that's considered neglect. And it's like, bruh, where do I win? Where do I win? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it. No, because like, I treat people differently depending on what you are. So if I'm at work, I'm like over the top, like, oh, can I get you something else? Oh, how are you? But it's not like I treat my friends. The way I treat my friends is different, and you'll definitely notice the difference.
I have one more, but it has an update. The title of this is I, 28F, found out my husband, 29M, has been telling his coworkers that I'm his... What do I do?
Wait, telling his coworkers, sorry, you cut out. Can you reread that whole thing again?
Yeah. So I, 28 female, found out my husband, 29 male, has been telling his coworkers that I'm his sister. What do I do?
That's weird. That's a weird shit. Mm-hmm. That's fucking weird ass behavior right there.
This is a throwaway account because I don't use or understand Reddit, but I really need advice from someone not connected to me or to my husband. My husband, I'll call him Josh, and I have been together for 6 years, married for 4, and we don't have kids. We have a really healthy and communicative relationship. We're both pretty easygoing, and I really love him. He started working at a large accounting, and from what he tells me, he loves it. He's made a lot of friends in his job, and he goes out with them and social events often, and I've been totally okay with that. I'm quite introverted, so I've never been interested in meeting his colleagues, nor have I asked. I've got my own circle of friends, and I'm fine with just us having separated friend groups. After what happened yesterday, it only just occurred to me that he never asked if I'd like to meet any of them, or go to one of his work events. I guess that's important context. Anyway, I'll start with what happened a few months ago. I had brushed it off until now. I was at a bar with some friends for a couple of Friday after work drinks, and a guy approached me. He looked slightly familiar, but I hadn't seen him before. He seemed friendly enough, and he asked me my name, right? I think I must have just given him a confused look because he followed up with, "I'm Jake. I work with Josh." I realized that I recognized him from photos that on my husband's phones. I didn't use social media except for private Instagram, so I'm not sure if he posted photos anywhere, but we have a very trusting relationship, so I look at his phone photos sometimes. Don't hate me. This is where it gets a bit embarrassing. I'm a bit socially awkward, so I just struggled to end the conversation, but he just kept talking at me. I guess it was already a couple beers deep because while he was talking, he said something like, "It's great that you guys are still so close. I haven't talked to my brother in ages." At the time, I was like, huh? But I just assumed he was drunk and not making sense, so I ignored it. He started to get a little flirty, so I turned to my friends, and we left shortly after that. I didn't say anything to them about it, and it didn't seem like a big deal to me. I also decided not to tell my husband that I had met his coworker Jake. Not to hide it, but because I figured the guy wouldn't even remember talking. But I didn't want to make it awkward at work by telling him that his colleague tried to hit on me. I just thought no harm, no foul. But yesterday morning, I was out walking our dog, Monty. He's a cross between a few breeds and has very unique markings. This matters, I promise. And it was on my way to a regular cafe, which is in town. I was waiting in line to order, and the guy in front of me was an older gentleman. He got his coffee and turned around, but stopped and looked at my dog and goes, "Hey, Monty?" Monty was super excited to see him, apparently. So I guess that this guy was another colleague of Josh's because Josh brings the dog to the office a couple times a week. I thought it was sweet, to be honest, so I smiled at him and said hi. He introduced himself. I guessed correctly that he was a colleague, but then he said something like, "Aren't you a good sister?" I was confused, and I didn't even know how to react. So I stumbled on my words and I just said, "It's my dog." I regret it, but I genuinely couldn't bring myself to correct him and say that I'm Josh's wife, not his sister. It was just too awkward. And I just wanted to leave because I think it was suddenly dawning on me what might have been going on. He asked me something about sharing a dog, but I was able to escape the conversation by being next in line to order coffee. And he left. I seriously don't know what to do because what the fuck? Do I even ask my husband about this? Part of me is just assuming or hoping that it's a mistake and that he doesn't talk about me much at work and they assume we're related because we have brown hair. But the thought that he's been telling his coworkers that I'm his sister and eventually they have seen what I look like, so they must have seen photos, makes my stomach churn. I don't even know how I would broach the subject with him. I need some help. What would you guys do in this situation? I've only told one friend this happened because it was so weird and embarrassing. She has jumped straight to time to plot his downfall because she's my ride or die and I love her. But I don't want to immediately assume the worst or ruin my marriage over something that nothing. I'm sorry for the long and rambly post, but I would really appreciate any and all advice.
First of all, baby, take off those rose-colored glasses and get a divorce. This man is lying. What do you mean? He said that she's his sister. Okay, sorry. Okay,
right.
Do the update.
So she edits it to say, "Holy fuck, thank you everyone who commented on this with some advice." I haven't read all of them, but I'm really appreciative. And I appreciate all the suggestions. Small update, Josh came home about 2:30 a.m. last night and he was drunk. So he just went straight to sleep, which it was fine with me because fuck having this conversation in that state. I've just woken up, but he's still sleeping. First thing, I just want to clear up. I've seen a lot of people suggesting I have crippling social anxiety or I am severely introverted, which I suppose you could glean from the way I explained that what happened, but I'm not. I meant that I'm slightly introverted and that I'm not the most eager to meet lots of people at once, especially a bunch of finance bros whose weekends consist of unending sports bar beers, where I assume I would be mansplained everything until my ears bleed. Probably a negative assumption, but I'm sure of you. I suppose you could say that I'm confrontation and that I'm quite laid back and I prefer to keep conversation easy and positive. I don't know. I don't like it when things are awkward, and correcting when people misrecognize me is one of those things. But I'm not terrified of confrontation. Also, my husband and I do share some mutual friends. I didn't explain that well, but our lives are not entirely separate. The way he acts towards me around our mutual friends is only affectionate and normal. It's only his work friends that I've never interacted. I've seen some people suggest that what is going on is equivalent of my husband beating me and me hopelessly wondering whether I should break or not, or that I'm stupid for thinking my relationship was healthy when it clearly isn't. Like, damn, cut me some slack. I'm a real person and this is entirely alien and bizarre. My first reaction isn't to assume the worst, but I do appreciate that you have all made me certain that it is a big deal. I guess I need to confirm that the things are happening are enough proof that Josh has been purposefully lying, and they aren't just mix-up. I'm going to talk to him today and ask him directly why he's telling his coworkers that I'm his sister. I followed the advice of writing my points down so that they don't get lost if I get emotional. I will do my best not to let him slither out of it, and I hope he has some proof that his colleagues know I'm his wife. I know this is not the theatrical confrontation you guys were hoping for, but it's a Saturday, and I can't wait. Wish me luck. Thank you all.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. But the update is after she talked to him. So.
Oh, shit. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Okay, I'm opening chat up for this because I really want to know what chat's thinking. Because
Yeah.
Before we read the update, girl.
Bruh.
Obviously, he's got some side bitch somewhere and was getting at this side bitch when he was with his coworkers. Mm-hmm. Or at least attempted to get a side bitch.
It's giving, I have a double life and I don't want you to know.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's giving. I haven't read the update. I've only read this part, and while I was scrolling through her profile, I see that she has been posting a lot of like responses to comments. So she is very active on her throwaway account. So if you want to see some of her responses, or if you want to hear some of them, I'm down to read them. Joe says, when I first heard this, I thought it was the coworkers who assumed she was the sister, and she never did. That's fair. It could be that they kind of look alike and they just assume that she's a sister because he didn't outright say, hey, this wife, you know? But I don't know.
But if the coworker knew, right? Mm-hmm. So if the coworker knew how she looked like at the bar without, saying anything, because like, how the fuck are you going to know how someone looks like to someone else without actually seeing a photo of them? He has to obviously be telling his coworkers that, oh yeah, that's my sister. If they see her pictures, right?
If they saw pictures then and they know what she looks like, he had to have claimed her in some sort of way, Like, this is my wife, this is my sister, this is my significant other that lives afar, like some sort of way. If they can recognize, they had to have seen picture.
Mike says, I don't see a point. That's a lot of work. It is. But then I've heard stories of like how some people are out there living double lives and shit. And I'm like, bruh, I barely have time for my mans now. What makes you think I'm going to go and do something? You got to plan a whole ass schedule to cheat.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
like a whole ass schedule.
Yeah. Like there's these people that literally have kids like across country from their main family, and it's like, how do you have children in two places? You have children over here with this lady and children over here with this lady, and who met your parents? Which one's your main family?
Oh, wait, and then what about the money? Where's the time and the money? Because imagine how much money you're spending in between.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. It is giving like double life, doesn't it?
Yeah. Why lie though?
Okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to cheat on his wife, or maybe like it could be that they're assuming, like somebody was stalking his, I don't know, Facebook profile and saw like pictures of her and was like, oh, maybe they're family. Don't know if they're siblings or if they're like married, but I don't know. I feel like I'm giving him too much benefit of the doubt.
I think you are too, because it's not just one person. If it was one person, that's fine. This is two different people on two different occasions.
Yeah, that's fair.
For just one person, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe it was just an assumption. But two makes it more like, Yeah.
And if he interacts with the dog 2 times a week and the coworker knows the dog and the husband stays out until 2, like if that's a common thing where he stays out until 2 a.m., they have to be like, who's taking care of your dog? What does he say? My sister's at home taking care of him?
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Okay, so update. I, 28 female, found out my husband, 29 male, has been telling his coworkers that I'm his sister. What do I do? They give a link to their previous post and then they say, "Hi everyone, I just want the overwhelming amount of support and advice. I'm blown away and it really means a lot and has kept me grounded. I'm sorry for the slow update. I know a lot of you were interested in what happened. I actually tried to update on Saturday, but it turns out the subreddit doesn't allow me to post an update until 48 hours after my first post. I'm also only allowed to post on one single update, so I'll try to fit as much as I can in here. Sorry for how long it might end up getting. I'll just get right into it. On Saturday morning, I woke up early with my husband. He was very hungry, so he was sleeping like a rock. But you guys will be proud of me because I followed advice and decided to leave his phone properly while he was sleeping. I've been on his phone so often, just pissing around, that I never thought to check anything deeply. I know his passcode by heart. I checked all the expected things like Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger, his iMessage, etc., and didn't find anything that set off alarm bells to me, but I know from some comments that people who are cheating are good at covering and hiding messages, so I kept looking. I saw he had a folder called, so I looked in there, and he had a couple Microsoft apps, Outlook, Authenticator, OneNote, etc. But he also has MS Teams, so I opened that up and had to look around. It did feel like I might have been breaking some laws looking at his work messages, but I obviously had to. Anyway, I was already upset to see that he had a bunch of one-on-one chats with several female workers, which at first glance is obviously in, but everyone works with people of the opposite gender and are required to communicate with them, so it's not a big deal. But a couple of them were vaguely flirty, nothing I would egregious, but there would be the occasional message between with some playful innuendo or a wink. These upset me, obviously, and they did send me into a bit of a spiral, but I didn't find anything that suggested he was having an end-out affair with any of them. Still, I followed someone's suggestion of screenshotting the messages and I airdropped it myself. I still wanted some evidence of the lie though. Some proof of Josh telling someone that I was his. A commenter suggested that I go through his messages and search for the keyword sister. I wanted to reply to your comment and say thank you for the idea, but this was locked, so I couldn't, but thank you. So I searched for sis on MST, hoping to find results for both sister and sis. A bunch of messages from all hands group chats or one-on-one chats came up from other people, all unrelated about their own sisters or whatever. But my heart dropped to my ass when I saw that there was a direct message from Jake, the guy from the bar, to Josh from a Monday a few months ago. Jake's message said, "Ran into your sis at the bar on Friday. She's single, right?" My husband had the fucking gall to reply, "Nah, she's married." Bruh, that don't sit right with me. That don't sit right with me.
Okay, so he wants to have his fun, but she can't. I'm just kidding. No, no, don't.
Bruh. Okay, no, so this is proof that he's acknowledging that she is his sister, though. Like, that's actually insane. What?
Yeah.
Wow. And my husband fucking replies, "Nah, she's married." I literally almost burst into flames on the spot when I said that. I can't even describe how much I was shaking after reading those messages. Firstly, that I could have confronted Josh about this months ago. I was and still am so furious with myself for that. Josh would have been fucking praying that I didn't remember meeting Jake or that I wouldn't mention it, and he would have been counting his lucky stars that I never did. He probably thought that he was hot shit for getting away with that, and I nearly burnt a hole through the floor thinking about it. But secondly, I was just shocked that he had the balls to tell this guy that I'm the one who's married, because he doesn't want anyone having it on with me, but he's allowed to coyly flirt with every fucking woman in the office. Same thought process.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Anyway, I kept going back through the search results on his MS Teams and eventually got so far as back as 2-ish years ago. And I did in fact find a message from Josh himself to a chat that said, "In sis and Nusa Dua." I clicked that and I saw that he had sent it alongside a bunch of photos of him and I from our Bali. We went to Bali for our second anniversary. I thought he probably chose those photos because he's shirtless and had been working out and he looks hot in all of them. I was in tears seeing all of this, obviously. So I took screenshots of those and I airdropped it all to myself. Needless to say, I was devastated and still am to see all of that. I'm still struggling to even process it all, but that it all happened on Saturday morning and I immediately took I'll call her Sophie. I went to her place, cried out, and showed her what I found, and she was extremely supportive and probably more furious than me. Around 1:30 p.m., I got a phone call from Josh, and I hung it up immediately. He sent me a few messages along the lines of, "Where are you, baby? I'm ordering food. Want some? Sad to not wake up next to you this sad face." Guys, I have to reiterate how much I love this man, and it's fucking heart-wrenching to see him still acting like nothing has gone wrong. It took so much willpower to not just pretend none of it ever happened and go home to him. I know a lot of you will yell at me or accuse me of being terrified of confronting him about this, which is not true. Please have some empathy. It takes me time to process my emotions, and I would have been able to form a sentence if I tried to confront him immediately after seeing all these messages. I needed some time away with Sophie, and so I stayed the night at her place. She ordered us some Chinese and helped me plan how I would confront him. I got a bunch more texts and calls from that evening, and eventually I put my phone on. Sunday morning, I woke up feeling more angry than sad, so I put my phone and finally said to his, "Coming home now, we need to talk." I kept it cryptic to make him squirm, just to be honest. Because I was/am fraught with emotions, I can't remember the entire conversation, but I'll try to replay it as best I can. Long story short, I got home and he tried to hug me, but I refused, and we just stood there in the kitchen. I did confront him like someone suggested. I just said, "Why have you been telling your coworkers that I'm your sister?" I wish it would have been like a movie scene where the color drained from his face or he immediately looked like a deer in the headlights, but he didn't. It was like he had been guarding himself for this confrontation for a while, because he just frowned at me and looked flabbergasted. He just said, "Huh?" This made me so angry. How are you going to pretend to be stupid after 3 years of lying? I basically said, "Don't fucking play dumb. Who of your coworkers have greeted me as your sister? And I have proof of you telling them. And I know you're pretending to be single." Essentially, I asked him what he had to say for himself. And he still played stupid. He became moderately defensive and just kept saying, "I don't know what you're talking about." Or, "Why would I lie about you?" I can't describe how furious I was at this point, but I was in tears. I always cry when I'm angry. So he was trying to comfort me as if I was having some kind of irrational breakdown. I showed him the screenshots of his message saying, "Me and sis." I said something like, "You tell me." He said, "I don't know what I'm looking at and I'm confused." Bruh.
The gaslighting is real. What?
The actual gaslighting, bro. Like, I cannot. This man. What?
Bro. Okay.
Bruh. Okay, so I got so angry that I left again. And I went back to Sophie's because it felt like a dead-end road. I didn't think I was going to get him to admit anything, and I was just getting so furious I couldn't continue. He was really upset and in tears, which to me was evidence that he knew he was lying and that he was going to have to come up with some explanation. He tried to get me to stay, but I told him that until you have something to say for yourself, we have nothing to talk. At 8:30ish, he called me again, and I did pick up. He basically asked for us to talk, and he said he had some things to say. So I went back to our apartment, and he had written out a bunch of stuff on a piece of paper as if he was preparing a speech, and sat me down on the couch. He asked me not to say anything while he was explaining himself. I'll write down the gist of what he said in bullet points. 1. He started by apologizing relentlessly and admitting that he pretended to be stupid before because he couldn't immediately think of something to say for himself, which means probably he's lying. He's coming up with some sort of lie. He's trying to figure it out.
Oh my god.
He's just a little slow on the uptake.
Yeah, this man.
Oh my god. Why? For 3 years though. Like 2 years ago, posting in a group chat about how he's with his sister in Bali. Like, what? Why?
Oof. Okay.
So, second, he says that immediately after he started this job, he realized the atmosphere was more like a frat house. All of his team members were men in their 20s and 30s.
That's not an excuse.
Fuckboys.
That's not an excuse.
He noticed that one guy in their team was married and would either get picked on or essentially excluded from any and all social interaction. That included getting lunch, inside jokes, going out on Fridays, etc. These guys were friendly and welcoming to Josh, and he admitted that he was desperate to fit in with. He hated feeling like fresh meat, so he was scared that saying he was married would alienate him from coworkers. And at first, just never mentioned that he was married. He said that he did wear his wedding ring and that they never pointed it.
I feel like that's a lie.
That feels like a lie, because, like, that married guy could have done something to, you know, be weird or disrupt the balance of actual work.
I think that's like bullshit. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah, it seems like a very flimsy excuse to me. Mm-hmm. A few months in, they were out drinking after work. He admitted that after one of his workmates saw pictures of him and I on his lock screen, they asked him who I was, and in a moment of panic, he said, "My sister." He was really apologetic at this point, and he was crying a lot. He couldn't even look at me and was just reading what he had written down. Anyway, he said that from then he basically dug himself deeper and deeper because they kept grilling him about me, wanting to see more pictures of me. He said he had to let it go on too long and that he didn't have the admit to the lie. They would always bring me up and ask shit like, "Do you have her? And did you give her my number yet?" Or joke that they had slept with me, etc. So he got the message from Jake. He essentially thought it was just him taking the piss, but he didn't like the joke. He didn't like the joke they were making about me and said that I was married in hopes that they would stop. They didn't. He said that this wasn't the first time he told them I was married. In fact, he had said so pretty much immediately after saying I was a sister. He said that those pictures of us in Bali were the only pictures that he had purposefully sent them and deliberately lied about. After that, he called an endless barrage of pestering from colleagues to share the pictures of his holiday. He said he was really ashamed. He told me that he had never had an affair or even considered it, and that the messages between him and his female colleagues were banter, and that it was commonplace to talk to people like that in the office. He also said he knows how disgusting it is, and he's embarrassed to have been acting like a fuckboy. He concluded this speech by apologizing again and said that he was disgusted with the shame that he had lied for so long. He felt like he had trapped himself and that he couldn't find a way to get himself out of it. He said he knows he couldn't have the truth, either his coworkers or me at any point, but that he didn't because he was a coward. He's
a fucking little bitch. Sorry.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I'll be nice. I'll play nice.
He said that he'll confess to his entire office that he lied and that I'm his wife and not his sister if I wanted him. He said that he'll quit his job without a word if it would feel better, and that he hopes I can forgive him, but he understands if I can't. Anyway, I can't really think of anything to say at this point. He went to lock himself in the bathroom, and I just sat on the couch crying. I don't know if I can trust what he said, and a lie that extreme is just baffling to me. If he can lie like that for so long, what else could he be lying about? But this explanation and apologies are sincere and genuine, and I guess to an extent that he said is believable. He has always been extroverted and very susceptible to peer pressure, especially from blokes. If nothing else, to me, it's a sign of shocking immaturity.
That's crazy.
Right? Anyway, I packed the bag and went back to Sophie's, and I'm still at her place as I'm writing this. She said I can stay as long as I need to. I told Josh that I need time away from him and whether or not I believe him, or whether I can ever trust him again. He told me to take as long as I need, and that he'll still be here for me if or when I get back. He said, even if it takes a year. Right now, nothing feels real. I'm still dealing with the emotional whiplash from all of this, and I can't keep food down or think about anything. I've taken the day off from work, and Josh told me he's going to take off a whole week. Sophie and my other friends have told me not to make a decision on anything until my head. I spoke to my parents, but my mom says it's a bump in the road. But she and my dad adore Josh, so they're pretty biased. That's where I am right now. I'll take some time before I consider my next steps. I can't say whether I'm leaning towards forgiveness or divorce, but those are really the only options. I kind of feel lost and avoid at the moment. That's probably the best way to describe it, just emptiness. Thanks again for all your advice and support. I'm truly grateful for having all of my thoughts. This has been very helpful to get my mind a little clear. This will be my last update unless I make an edit to clear things up. All the best.
I don't believe him one fucking bit.
Yeah,
first he gaslights her, and then Luna, you go.
The audacity.
All right.
No, but like the actual gaslighting. And he literally, like, instead of sitting her down and being like, look, this is what happened when she asked, he literally just stares at her and pretends not to know what she's talking about, even confronted with pictures. And it's like, what? I think she needs the names and the numbers of the girls that he was with in his phone and been like, hey, this is my husband. Has he ever done anything inappropriate with you? Has he introduced a girlfriend to you? She doesn't know if this man said, yeah, that's my sister. By the way, here's my girlfriend. You know,
that's
like
crazy.
It's definitely giving like double life, isn't it?
Or he just wants to stay a fuckboy.
That's true. He could sleeping around with all his female coworkers and like saying he's single, you know?
You never know. That's fucking crazy.
There are like stories of people that are like donor conceived and they found out that they're half siblings. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, but that's different. That's like a whole different case.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Panda was saying, what if this is all just a misunderstanding? The husband is actually the best husband ever. What husband lies about you, who you are in his life?
Yeah.
I feel like that's also a like, respect thing too.
He could have very quickly just been like, when they asked who she was on his phone, first off, they gotta be dumb to believe him because I never in my life have had my siblings as my background or as my lock screen.
I have my baby siblings as my lock screen, but they're babies.
Yeah, that's like, again, that's different. Like, who puts their siblings as their lock screen? Just one sibling, you know? Unless your sibling has passed and you're trying to honor them and you love them. Like, I could see that, but like, I don't know. In what pictures was he sharing of them in Bali? If it's part of their anniversary, they probably were like really close together and they were like, you know, lovey-dovey. How did they not pick up on that?
Yeah, it could just be like a quick selfie of them too. That was on their lock screen, but...
That's true. Oh, hold on, wait. How old is she? Because she said most of them are like early 20s.
I think she's 28 and he's 29, right? If I remember correctly.
So he's, she's 28, he's 29. So I understand that a lot of people want to fit in with the group. If I am in a group setting with a bunch of like 20-year-olds and I'm 30 years old, I don't want to relate with them to the point where I lie about my social status and my relationship status.
I don't want to hang out with you like that because I know there are things that we don't have in common.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to act like I'm younger than my age. There's no point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is giving either severe immaturity and social anxiety to the point where he's willing to keep up a lie and gaslight his wife and just be an all-out weirdo for 3 years, because he straight up told his coworkers that she was married multiple times, which means they kept asking about him or about her and like, at what point do you be like, dude, stop talking about her? You know, like he had every opportunity to be like, dude, she's not actually my sister. She's my wife. Can you just leave it be? I didn't want to like get into this with you guys.
That's a 3-year thing. And then the only guy who was married, like, okay, what makes you think they're going to treat you like that? You obviously wanted to go hang out with a bunch of single guys because you wanted to be on the same bullshit that they were on when you have someone faithful at home. Even if I heard his side of the story, I'd be like, something ain't right here.
I feel like he would post, am I the asshole for telling my coworkers that my wife is my sister? And then people would be like, yeah, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, that's, even if you were scared to tell the truth to, you know, your wife and your coworker, you're the asshole because you could have at any time in these 3 years told them, hey, just so you know, just kidding.
He was also flirting with his female coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he was trying to get some poo-tang from somewhere else.
Who says he hasn't as well? Like, if they thought he was single, then they wouldn't have any problem.
Yeah, that is wild. Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Rough.
I can't.
Joe says, nah, man, just wanted more female friends. I mean, she did get a little bit heated whenever she said that he was talking to females. And she's like, but I guess you work with people of the opposite gender and you have to communicate with them. I kind of get that if he wanted female friends, but also like to lie about it. Unless he was like in a very controlling and abusive relationship where he couldn't have friends at all unless she approved it. I could see that, but then why lie about her being your sister?
It's the fact that he was flirting with them and there was messages with innuendo in it. Like that's not made out of, you don't say stuff like that to just friends or coworkers. There has to be like a certain motive behind it, I feel. Because it is possible to have platonic friendships that are strictly, I can't talk, that are strictly platonic.
Mm-hmm. Even if the man was telling the truth, it just shows he's willing to cross boundaries to fit in. Exactly. He's willing to cross boundaries and break her trust. I would say throw the whole man away. If he's willing to lie for 3 years, you can try couples therapy, but
I'm going to tell anybody who's going through this, this is going to be so out of pocket. There is someone else who's always going to have, let me rephrase that. There's always someone else out there willing to fuck you better. Just throw them away. Dick can't be that good.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was so out of pocket, but like.
Joe says at best case, he's untrustworthy. Worst case, he's a cheater or a
yeah. I mean, at that point, he's not even worth keeping.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ain't got kids?
Yeah. It's just different levels of bad, but still bad. I don't know that I could trust him after that, because what are you going to do? Change your entire personality to like barge yourself into work events if he switches his job and over explain that you're his wife? Then you're just going to be labeled a crazy wife. I don't think that's a relationship worth saving, because it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth and you're not ever going to trust him again. Because like if he's lying about something so simple, who's to say he's not lying about something big?
Yeah. So, if you guys have stories you guys would like us to share, you can send them to either Luna or I on Discord, message us, whatever, and we'll probably share it next week.
All right. So, thank you guys so much for watching. You can find all of our podcasts on YouTube. We are making a new YouTube channel for it. So, we will probably have an announcement on Discord where to find that YouTube. We might even make a Spotify for it. I don't know. What were you planning for that?
I was gonna look into it, but we'll figure it out. We'll see.
Yeah. That's for future. This is first episode stuff. So anyway, obviously you can find both of us on Twitch. You can find both of us on TikTok. This podcast particularly, we'll probably be posting it around. We'll announce where we post it in Discord.
Luna, what are your handles before we go so they know where to find you?
My handles are Twitch, Luna_Moon_Pack, and my TikTok is let me find it quickly.
Luna Pack 0.
Luna Pack 0. It's so easy. I forgot about it. Luna Pack 0.
And then my handles are the same all the way through. It's just AniExBae, AHNEEXBAE.
Thank you guys for hanging out and giving our first episode of podcast a little bit more life, you know? Also, the podcast is going to be every Wednesday around 11 o'clock p.m.-ish.
11 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, Eastern time, not Pacific, because I think 11 p.m. PST would probably be a little bit too late for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm usually in bed by like midnight.
Okay, yeah. So 11 p.m. EST.
Good night, y'all.